Welcome to Habs Number Ones. Who has worn number one for the Montreal Canadiens, Part 2. Before we go on, I just ask that you take 4 minutes to subscribe and to like and hit the notification bell so that you may continue to receive great hockey videos like this. Thank you very much. Now on to the show. Alphonse Lacroix was the emergency goaltender who filled in for George Vezina when he had collapsed in a game at the start of the 25-26 season. Lacroix played for 5 games and had a 1-4 record. He was replaced by Rheaume. Lacroix was retained by Montreal until the end of the 1926-27 season, but never actually played another NHL game. Rheaume. Rheaume filled the goaltender position following the illness and death of George Vezina. He took over from Alphonse Lacroix, who played the first 5 games following Vezina's death, and then he played 31 games and had a record of 10, 20, and 1. Rheaume was replaced the following season by George Hainsworth. Bert Gardiner. Gardiner was one of the few non-goalies to wear number 1 as a defenseman. He played 2 full seasons with Montreal from 1926 to 28. He was then loaned to Chicago for most of the next season before being recalled to Montreal for the last 7 games of the season. Those were his last games playing hockey, as he moved on to coaching after that. George Hainsworth. Hainsworth joined Montreal the year following George Vezina's death from tuberculosis. He played 7 seasons for Montreal, missing only 2 games. At the end of the 1933 season, he was traded to Toronto. He played 4 more games for Montreal in December of 1936, replacing Wilf Cude, who was injured. Hainsworth was team captain for Montreal during his last year there. He was only the second of 8 goalies to ever be captain. Hainsworth won the first of 3 Vezina trophies in 1927, 28, and 29. He won the Stanley Cup in 1930 and 31. He also holds the record for most shutouts in a season at 22. Marty Bert. Bert played for Montreal between 1927 and 1934, with a short stint in Pittsburgh in 1927 and 28, and Ottawa, traded back 1933 and 1934. He went to Chicago in 1934, but then played the last bit of his career in Montreal, 38 games in 1937 and 38. In 303 games with Montreal, he had 14 goals and 38 assists, along with 385 minutes in penalties. Mickey Murray. Murray played 1 game on February 25, 1930, replacing George Hainsworth, who was injured. Murray allowed 4 goals and lost the game 4-2 to the New York Americans. Roy Werders. Ray was another goaltender who only played 1 game for the Montreal Canadiens. He replaced Hainsworth on February 27, 1930, in a game against Toronto. He won 6-2. Lorne Chabot. Chabot was acquired by Montreal from Toronto at the beginning of the 1933-34 season. He played all but the first game. He was traded to Chicago at the end of the season. Wilf Cude. Cude started the 1933-34 season with Montreal, only to be loaned to Detroit for the rest of the year. He was given the job of starting goaltender for Montreal in the 34-35 season, and held it till he split duties with Claude Pronovost in the 38-39 season. He then lost the starting job to Pronovost in 39-40, a year when he only played 7 games. His record was 1-5-1. The following year, he only played 3 games and gave up the starting job to Bert Gardiner. Ab Cox. Ab Cox played for 1 game for Montreal on February 16, 1936. The game ended in a 1-1 tie. After retiring as a player in 1937, Cox became a linesman. Babe Siebert. Siebert joined the Canadiens in 1936, after already being in the league for 12 years. He played for Montreal for 3 years before retiring in 1939. He was named head coach for the 39-40 season, but never actually coached a game, as he tragically drowned in Lake Huron that summer. Claude Pronovost. Bourque played 61 games for the Canadiens during the 2 seasons between 38 and 40. He had a dismal record of 16, 37, and 8. Mike Caracas. Mike played 5 games at the end of the 1939-40 season for Montreal when he was loaned from Chicago to fill in for Wilf Cude, who suffered a shoulder injury. He posted a 0-4-1 record. Bert Gardiner played in 52 games between 1940 and 42 for the Canadiens. In 1942, he was loaned to Chicago, and then in 1943, he was traded to Boston. His record with Montreal was 14, 31, and 7. Tony Grabowski. Tony Grabowski signed as a free agent on October 25, 1940, and played 66 games with Montreal over 3 seasons. He scored 6 goals and had 10 assists. He also had 24 minutes in penalties. Paul Bibeau. Bibeau played in the final 4 games of the 1940-41 season. He then played for 88 games in the next 2 seasons before being loaned to Toronto and then Boston in the next couple seasons. He also covered for Bill Durnan in 10 games during the 1945-46 season. Bill Durnan. Bill Durnan played for Montreal for 7 years, from 1943 to 1950. He won 6 Vezina trophies and 2 Stanley Cups. He was also the last goalie to wear the captain's C. Goalies were prohibited from doing so after the 47-48 season, as he left his crease so often to argue calls that other teams complained that Montreal was getting too many unofficial timeouts. Claude Pronovost. Claude Pronovost played his first NHL game when he was loaned to Boston when they were in town, as both their goaltenders were unavailable. He went on to register a shutout against Montreal, his own team. He played for 60 minutes over 2 games in the 58-59 season, during which he gave up a total of 7 goals. Claude Siebert. Claude Siebert played for 1 period in the NHL when he replaced Claude Pronovost on March 19, 1959 against the Toronto Maple Leafs. He let in 1 goal in the 3rd period, and Toronto won the game 6-3. Ernie Wakely appeared in 1 game in the 1962-63 season, which he won, letting up 3 goals. He appeared in another game in the 1968-69 season, which he lost, letting up 4 goals. Ernie played a total of 113 games in the NHL. He also played in the WHA. Cesare Maniago. Cesare Maniago played in relief for Jacques Plante for 14 games when he was ill. He also played for Minnesota and Vancouver during his career. Thank you for watching, and I just ask that you would take a few seconds just to subscribe, like, and comment, and I appreciate you taking the time to watch this video. Thank you very much.